Hello, so I wanted to film another video about small harvests and what to do with them, and this one is going to focus around a small harvest both physically and figuratively. These are the potatoes that I harvested out of my grow bag. I don't know if that video is going to go up before or after this, but either way, they're not really, exactly what I would have wanted, and there's this many of them, so not quite enough for potato salad. So I did pick up a few just potatoes from the grocery store, and then I also harvested a little bit of dill from the garden as well. And what I'm going to do, these are new potatoes, they call them, so they have not been cured. I just pulled them out of the garden this afternoon. I'm just going to wash them, and then we're going to use them right away. So I'm just going to go ahead and throw all these in the sink and wash them, and then we'll get them into some boiling water for the first part of potato salad. So this is definitely a little bit of like a hack or a quick get around if you only have a small harvest like this. Mix your garden harvest with some store-bought produce. That is totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Don't feel bad about that. What I am going to do is go ahead and cut down these store-bought potatoes to more around the same size, just so that they cook evenly. So just going to dice these into a few smaller pieces. I did want to say that I was very careful when I was washing these potatoes because, oh, this one needs a little bit more, because the skins are so soft. When you store potatoes, you usually leave them out to dry and they kind of will cure, and the skins will get a lot harder, they'll get a lot tougher in that process. When you harvest the potato right out of the ground, it is much, much softer. And so you just want to be a little careful when you're washing it, that you don't, just like rip off the skin. And you don't need to worry about peeling them because those, that's just girly girl running around, my daughter, because those peels are just so tender. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just put all of these into a big pot with water, bring it to a boil, and because of this size, I'll probably just boil them for about 15 minutes, keeping an eye on it. And as soon as it's fork tender, I will drain them out. For potato salad, we want a nice, well-cooked potato. We don't want it like completely falling apart, but we do want like a nicely soft potato. And I think this is going to be a good mix between, this is just a red potato, and then these are actually called like a pinto potato, and as you can see, they have kind of spots. So if you know horses, like pintos, that's like a color of spotted horse. I used to ride horses for years, so that's what it makes me think of. So I'm going to get these all into the water, we'll get them boiling, and then I'll check back in when they're all cooked, and we'll put together the potato salad. All right, so I just pulled out the potatoes. They are perfectly fork tender, which is wonderful. I rinsed them off with a little cool water, but they're still really, really warm. So I'm gonna let them continue to rinse, and then I'm gonna go ahead and prep the other things that are gonna go into our potato salad. So as these potatoes cool, we're going to dice up some celery, a little bit of red onion, and also the dill that I harvested from the garden. This is just my own recipe that I've kind of come up with over the years, but it's pretty much a classic potato salad. And so we're just gonna dice up the celery. I do 4 stalks of celery because I just really like celery. I like to have a celery forward potato salad, I guess. The dill I'm going to dice up as small as I possibly can. And then I'm gonna do about 1/4 cup of red onion. I, again, don't really like red onion, but this is something, you know, you can totally do your own, you know, what at your own preference. If you like less celery, do less celery, whatever sounds good to you. Okay, so I think the potatoes are starting to cool down. So I'm going to transfer them to a bowl. And it's kind of a fun mix with both the little potatoes fresh from the garden and then the red potatoes here. Totally fine. Not going to be a problem at all. And then I'm just going to add in our ingredients. So put in the celery, our red onions, and our dill. This is probably with what, a tablespoon of dill? Again, as much or as little as you would like. I love dill. I think there's nothing better than the scent of fresh dill out of the garden. It's got to be one of the best smells in the world. Okay, I'm gonna go wash my hands and I'll be right back. Super basic, super simple recipe. We're gonna add in some mayo. Probably maybe like a cup of mayo. I know that seems like kind of a lot, but it is potato salad. What would it be without mayo? Then we're gonna do about 2 tablespoons of red wine vinegar. I think that vinegar really adds, like, you need something to cut all of the fat from the mayonnaise. Then I do a little bit of mustard, just about like maybe a teaspoon. I don't like to have too much mustard. And I've heard that yellow mustard is actually the best for potato salad. And so, you know, you could try that. But I just have Dijon today, so that's what I'm gonna use. And then I do a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper. I'm currently pregnant and everything, I don't know what it is, I guess it's some kind of pregnancy craving. All I want is like pepper and spicy, which is very rare for me because I am not a spicy girl. I do not usually like spicy food, but this pregnancy, I tell you. So now I am going to mix up the potato salad, and as you're mixing, you also want to kind of mash a few of the cubes. I actually didn't cut these potatoes anymore, kind of leaving it like a super big rough chop, but you could certainly cut these into more bite-sized pieces if that's your preference. I kind of like the bigger chunks of potato, but then I'll smash a few as I go so that there's like a couple chunks here and then some smashed up potato as well, and that's just kind of the ratio that I like. I like a rustic potato salad, right? That's what we'll call it. There we go. So now we're starting to get a good mix of, just 1 second. What do you need? Okay, here we go. We're starting to get a nice consistency with the bigger chunks and then a little bit of this like creaminess too of some of the potatoes that have gotten more smashed. That is what we're looking for. Beautiful. I'm gonna do a little taste test here, and I'm gonna get some of those garden fresh potatoes. And let's see how this is tasting. Really good. Oh my gosh. If you haven't grown your own potatoes before, add it to your list for next year, or if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, get some potatoes in the ground, because there is something about fresh homegrown potatoes like right out of the ground that is just amazing. This is such a nice light mild potato salad. It's not super in your face with the mayo or any of the flavors, but you just get that nice little like hint of dill and hint of onion and the celery. I'm gonna add a tiny bit more salt, but that's also because I like things really salty. And then this is actually for tomorrow, and I'm gonna go ahead and put it in the fridge and let it sit till tomorrow. Potato salad is one of those things that if it gets like a day, I'm not gonna say the longer it sits because obviously it has a shelf life, but if it sits for, 24 hours, you can make it the day in advance of whatever event you're making it for. It'll just taste better. All of the flavors kind of meld and gel, and it is, super good. So I hope you enjoyed seeing this recipe, and if you have a teeny tiny potato harvest like I do, maybe it gives you an idea of what to use it for. And thank you so much for watching. I will talk to you in the next one. Bye-bye.